Hi and welcome to my channel. In today's video we're going to talk about ALTS in Lost Ark. I'm going to explain the appeal, explain what they give to you. The topics of discussion for today are going to be why people are creating ALTS, when should you create these ALTS, how can ALTS help your account, how to boost them to 50, what item level they should be, what class, how many should you have, and lastly, I'm also going to go through the concept of having alts on another server and why some people, myself included, are actually going to do that. In case you're new to Lost Ark, welcome. I really hope you're having fun in game despite the long queues and technical problems we've had during this release week. I know I'm scheduling my time, setting myself in a queue, then going out to town shopping, cooking, and only afterwards sitting at my PC ready to play. But let's get into the alts. The main reason why so many players in Lost Ark have alts is because the game encourages you to have them. A lot of things are shared across all of your characters. Some of the currencies, the mounts, the pets, the skill points. So it's quite easy to have alts. It's not annoying, right? That's why the incentive to have them. Reason number two is the fact that it's super fun. Just playing Lost Ark more, even if your alt would be of the same class as your main, you get to play the lovely content in the game that much more. But if you have different classes that you go through on a daily basis, then the experience is completely different because classes in Lost Ark come with their own super unique and interesting and visually appealing gameplay. So it's just a really enjoyable experience in general to have alts. And lastly, reason number three is the fact that they just simply help out with loot. The more you play, the more content you do, the more loot you get. And this loot doesn't always have to be gear honing materials, but that's one big reason why people play alts, because there are several places that give you tradable gear honing materials, which your alt can then later on place in the roster warehouse for your main to get and progress that much faster. But there's other things that alts can farm and get as loot that just benefit all of the characters of your account or your account in general, such as currencies, right, that are shared throughout your characters, or engraving books or runes, etc. So the more you play, the more loot you get, the better it is in general for all of your characters. So now that you know why people are creating alts, let's talk a little bit about when you should create one. The bottom line is that you should create an alt when you're gonna have time for it. If an alt takes away anything from your main's daily routine or from your main's progress, then that means you're not yet ready to have an alt. When you will have a little bit of time left, then that is the point where you should get one. Right now at the beginning it's pretty complicated because there's so much to do, so much to explore on one character, so much to take care of and learn, that you're not really gonna feel you have time for one. However, later you will feel that when your main gets into the daily routine, so that is the time when you should have one. Next we can talk about the benefits that your alt can bring to your main or to your account in general. How do alts help in terms of what content you should be looking to farm? Here there's a very important thing you should keep in mind. Whenever people think about alts and having alts and the value of alts, they think about them being in tier 3. By them I mean their main and also their alts, because tier 3 is where you start getting the juice you're looking for from your alts, right? Tier 3 is when you start getting the big liquid gold as a reward from dungeons, and at the same time, of course, you waste or consume a lot of gold on honing your gear. Tier 3 is where you can start selling engravings and accessories because that gear stays for longer and people start feeling the need for great combat stats there, or a great engraving set start popping through their potions. That's where everything happens, in tier 3. So having alts in tier 3 is the ultimate goal that you have, let's say, for your alts, because then they really start giving you back things. However, we are all playing a fresh release right now, and even though the ultimate goal is to get your main and all of your alts into tier 3 because that's where the big bucks are, even the little that you get in tier 1 and tier 2 is useful for the time being. So playing your alts in content that gives you tradable honing materials or gold or account-wide things is actually quite valuable. Let's get into some of this content, and I would like to start with the Abyssal Dungeons. They are the bread and butter of having alts. For now, Abyssal Dungeons, later on Abyssal Dungeons and Abyssal Raids. They give you gold, which is the most important currency in game, priceless because you can go to the auction house and buy anything your heart desires, including gear honing materials. Abyssal Dungeons in tier 1 and 2 give you much less gold than in tier 3, hence what we just discussed previously. However, getting a gear score of 340 on your alt to unlock the first two is a very simple task. Getting to 460 can happen a week later by your alt farming with its own means in game, if you have the time for it, of course, remember. And farming these 4 tier 1 abyssal dungeons yields you around 300 gold a week per character. The more alts you have and the more abyssal dungeons you do with them, then obviously the more gold you make. And at the moment, with the current economy, making 300 and something gold per alt plus all of the other rewards that come from abyssal dungeons is actually something you can invest into a potential brighter future for yourself. Guardian Raids, another form of content your alts have access to. Farming these gives you tradable honing materials, so you can choose to sell them or give them to your main via the roster warehouse. Chaos Dungeons also have some tradable materials that can be either sold or sent to your main. Your alts finishing these 2 full loot Chaos Dungeons every day, which by the way take just 5 minutes, means that they have the chance to get tickets for a variety of content, such as the cube in tier 1 Chaos Dungeons, and then later on in tier 2 tickets for the boss rush, which doesn't help your main directly, but the goodies from there can help your account grow faster and thus helping your main indirectly. To be noted that Guardian Raids and Chaos Dungeons can also be auto-completed on your housing plot via your estate missions. So if you don't feel like actually doing them that day, or you just don't have the time, take the 30 seconds to go to your estate and set up at least a raid run twice a day, because Chaos Dungeons, it's a 5-minute thing, as we talked about, right? Not all of your alts can auto-complete these Guardian Raids every day, because you have limited spots for these missions, and it takes some time to actually finish. But if you just auto-complete the Guardian Raids with a higher level stronghold, 2 of your alts can do it every day. Other little things alts can do is spend pirate coins on tradable gear honing materials. Pirate coins, which is a shared currency amongst all of your characters. These materials you can either sell or store in the roster warehouse for your main to use. Same story with the Silmail Bloodstones, the guild currency. Not a shared currency this time, but your alts being in a guild, maybe some alt guild, doing the daily contribution, yields them these tokens, so you can, again, buy tradable mats and either sell or give them to your main. Lastly, I also wanted to mention that alts can prove to be useful later on for seasonal events, for example, where rewards are maybe acquirable per character. So having more characters to play those interesting, cool, fun seasonal rewards means more fun and more loot for your account. Next topic is how to boost alts to 50. Obviously, you can speed through leveling it manually. I got a link for that, by the way, in the description below, where I teach you how to level up fast if you're interested. But we also get 2 free level 50 boosts in game. One free boost called the Vern Power Pass is given to the first character who finishes the North Vern story quest, which ends with one quest called Earin's Request, Earin being the queen of Vern Castle. After completing that, you get mailed your power pass. It's an item that you take from your mail into your bag and then right click it to apply it to your account. Afterwards, you go back to character selection, you can press the power pass button while having your alt selected, and the process begins. The second power pass, also a Vern power pass, is received by this alt that actually gets boosted the moment you finish the boosting process, right? It should take you just a few minutes. Also, again, in your mail, same as before, you take it, you use it from your bag, and then you go back to character selection, boost the second alt with it the same way. These are the 2 we get for free, but there's another way to boost up your character, and that's part of your housing plot. Upon finishing your initial setup, with the cutscenes and the quest from your butler, you get another blue quest called Nothing is Impossible for Psychins. And you finish that quest and you get access to the knowledge transfer system, the robot on the beach, right? Logging into the game with a low level character, going to your housing plot by using the song, because you're gonna have it since all of your characters have the housing song or any song that any other character gets. You go to your housing plot with a lobby, you access the knowledge transfer system, you pay 600 gold, and the game basically boosts you to 50 during the next 8 hours. This knowledge transfer system is basically a story finishing system, but coincidentally, finishing the story of Lutera, Tortoica, Anika, etc. Will also level you up. So it's essentially a boost to level 50. How many alts should you have and what classes should they be? I'm gonna leave the class choice up to you because it is completely up to you. I play my alts of the same class as my main for no other reason besides the fact that I really enjoy that particular class, right? Little benefits come from playing your alts the same class as your main, such as the engravings, which are server shared, so I can use the same engravings from my main to my alt, and also maybe you're a little bit more accustomed to playing that, so it's an easier setup process. Other than that, you choose the classes that you want to go for, and generally people play various classes also to take a bit of a break from the gameplay of one class to get into the exciting gameplay of another and just refresh their day like that, right? So this is completely up to you. How many should you have? As many as you have time for, but not more than 6 characters, because the gold that you get from playing these characters from the Abyssal Dungeons and later on the Abyssal Raids is capped at 6 acquisitions per week. Of course, you can have as many alts as you want, right? Assuming you want to test out all the 15 classes we have in the West, feel free, be my guest. But just saying, in terms of doing content, only 6 gold acquisitions, so that's why people generally do only 6 runs of these abyssal things for the gold and for the loot. Lastly, I would like to explain the concept of having alts on another server, which is something that I'm also planning on doing. Not now, because now there's a lot of queues, so swapping servers is not a smart thing to do at the moment. However, when things settle down, you get, let's say, several little benefits that are not mandatory by any means, by the way, but just worth explaining. So the energy of gathering, that is shared across all of your characters on one server. On another server, that's a fresh energy of gathering, so you can gather 1 time more with the full energy on the other server, gather resources around the world. The housing energy is also shared across all of your characters on one server. On another server, that's a fresh new housing energy, which you can use, for example, to craft the things you've gathered. You craft them into more expensive things that you can sell on the auction house. That gives you gold, right? Doing the Epona dailies, the daily quests and the weekly quests, gives you that reward track, right, with the Epona badges. That is shared across all of your characters on one server. On another server, on a different server, that's a fresh new reward track for Epona badges. Epona badges can be exchanged for bags of gold. That's why people are very inclined to doing the daily quest. And one of those bags of gold actually has a chance to drop you a special golden ingot, which gives you a large amount of gold if you get really lucky with it. And these were 2 reasons why people create an alt on another server. That alt makes the gold, and then with your main, you place an item on the auction house, some specific item like a soul stone with really bad engravings or a specific combination of engravings and at a specific price, so that you would notice it on your alt, know that it's yours, buy it, essentially transferring the gold over to your other server, to your main. That alt on another server can be a PvP character, for example, something that you just queue up for arenas because PvP is equalized, you don't need gear, item level, engravings, skill points, and you don't need these things either for doing your daily quests, as it's an easy content, nor do you need them for crafting and gathering. So as you gather around materials in the world, you queue up for PvP, and it's a whole win-win situation there. I hope this video helped you understand alt a little bit. I encourage you to create at least 1 alt, maybe of a different class than your main is, so you can get that different experience on a daily basis. And yeah, until my next video, thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you really soon. Take care.